Hello and welcome to issue 17 of the KVIN Tech Chat podcast. I'm Sam, and this week I'm joined, well, if you go by his latest YouTube video figures, a definite potential YouTube star in the making. Hi, Mark.
Apparently I've gone viral, Sam.
You have definitely well over 1,000 views now from the Sky Q voice guidance video. Well done.
Oh, thank you. And thanks obviously for promoting it. And we will talk more about Sky Q a little bit later on when we update. But you've got some very special news to give us about KVIN's reopening, haven't you?
Yeah, this is our reopening special. So again, we'll talk further in more detail what's going to happen in the coming months on our KVIN roadmap to opening.
Okay, so some tech updates first of all then. As Sam has mentioned, we have put out a YouTube video about the new Sky Q voice guidance, and we have had a couple of questions about that. And the first one was, does it tell you what channel you're on as you move up and down between the different channels when you're just watching TV? The answer to that is yes, it does. So as you use the channel up and channel down buttons, that will tell you what channel you're on and what program you're watching. So you don't actually need to go into the guide to get that information. It's there. One of the questions I was asked also was probably what are the most useful buttons on the remote control? Because, you know, obviously you get these remote controls and it's like buying bread, isn't it? You know, there are so many different types of bread you can get, but actually you might only want certain one. And it's a bit like that with remote controls. I always find they've got lots of different buttons, but what ones do you actually need? Well, to my mind, I would say the most useful ones are the ones around the center, obviously the directional arrows up, down, left and right, and the OK or select button in the middle of those. And then just below that, running down from the down arrow, you've got the home button, which is incredibly useful because that takes you back to the start of the menus. Below that, you've got the voice input, so you can press that voice input to enable the voice guidance, and below that you've also got the record button as well. So they're probably the most useful things on the Sky Q remote that we're finding. Other bits of updates: Apple have released their latest version of iOS, which is iOS version 14.5, and probably the biggest news there is the launch of support for AirTags. Now, you might recall on our previous podcast, we have talked about things like the key finders and the tiles, and this is Apple's version of those little devices that you can stick to things or clip to things that should you lose your keys, should you lose your wallet, your purse, bus pass, anything like that, you can get the phone to signal the AirTag and it will give an audio indication of where that device is. Lots of these different things around on the market. They are very expensive. It's £29 for one or £99 for four. So you've got to really want these things or really spend a lot of time looking for things that you've lost, I would say. Do you lose a lot of things like that, Sam? Do you think they're worth it? Or
I think they are. I am getting worse, actually, with putting things down and not knowing where I've put them. So, yeah, I don't know if they're worth it at that price. I think there's a lot of alternatives out there that may be better value retail-wise. So definitely worth having a shop round. But if that's your sort of thing, then go for it.
Yeah, as we say, those are the key finder type devices that we've featured previously. They're around £25 and they'll give you tags that look after 6 devices. Much cheaper, but obviously they don't have the flexibility of them being tied into the phone. So very much pays your money, you take your choice on that one. So what's happening on our roadmap?
Right. Our roadmap to reopening ties in with the government's roadmap out of lockdown. So we are hoping to return to one-to-one services from the 17th of May. These are going to be appointment-based and are aimed at just giving people a little bit of support that maybe have struggled learning things over the phone and would prefer to do it with someone there. We're also hoping to return to groups after the 21st of June, which is really exciting. We may have limits on numbers just because of the social distancing, but we're all in the planning with that. So we are looking to start the groups again at the end of June. A basic list of what's going on. We're going to have Wednesdays, one-to-one support and groups in Batley on Wednesday, Thursday will be the return of the Dewsbury group and also one-to-one support in Huddersfield. And on Friday, we will hold the group setting in Huddersfield. So, so much going on coming up, which is really exciting. I can't wait just to get back to those face-to-face scenarios, meeting people in person again. That's going to be fantastic. They're not the only groups we've got going, are they, Mark? We've also, thanks to our volunteer coordinator, Claire, got some walking groups starting this month, all around North Kirklees, Batley, over near Cleckheaton, Hickman Dwight, Dewsbury, and in Murfield. A few walking groups. On a negative, they are all full, but you could also see that as a positive. There was a lot of demand there. And Claire has also managed to recruit 6 more volunteers to help guide, to act as sighted guides to help support these walks, which again is fantastic.
I think it's great in the sense that it's giving us the opportunity to get back outdoors. And with that opportunity, there's chance to try new things. With the walking groups, we're going to be using the ramble tags that we've spoken about. But Sam, there's an app that we could use as well.
There is an app. There's a fantastic app I've come across lately. I got recommended by one of our viewers on our YouTube channel. It's called WeWalk, and it's kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different GPS apps that are already out there. So if you do love your movie, your soundscape and those sort of things, this is another one to maybe have a look at and have a try. Basically, there's 4 sections to the app. There's a home section, which will tell you all the facilities, shops, businesses, cash points, transport hubs, anything like that that's kind of near your location. There's also then a transport section, which is ideal for showing you where train stations, bus stations, stops, and it also gives you times as well to aid your journey planning. So that's really good. There's also then the 3rd section is a navigation section. If you're wanting to search for a particular location or business, you can do so in there. And then the final section is My Places, which is where you can list all your favourites. So you can quick and easily find, a particular location much faster that way. Now, what is so different about this app that I've not found on many of the others is if you are visually impaired, there is an invert feature in it. So you can have a few different backgrounds and text colours actually built within the app, so you don't have to alter your phone settings if you don't wish to. There's also an inbuilt assistant, a bit like Siri or an Alexa, actually within the app, which again is really good in terms of location, asking the time, things like that. And then one other feature which I really like, because I do use a lot of GPS apps, is that instead of the locations being read out as compass points, these are given in terms of a clock face. So they'd say the next street, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, etc. And I find that really useful rather than thinking in terms of north, west, southeast. I think the clock face is a lot more straightforward. So that gives it a big plus from me. And it's definitely a good way to get out and about.
And I really do like that idea of the clock face, because so often when I set off with things like Google Maps and it says heading northwest, I thought, well, I don't know which way I'm heading at the moment to know whether I'm heading northwest.
Exactly.
It can be difficult. As we always say, there have never been more ways in which to engage with us here at Kirklees Visual Impairment Network.
Yeah, we've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We've got the website. We're also on Spotify and TuneIn Radio with the podcast. Hope I've not missed anything.
And you can even email us on info@kvin.org.uk. That's info@kvin.org.uk. So from Sam and I,
thanks a lot for listening again. Bye.
And goodbye for now.